We're going to have special events in honor of America 250, and I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana Well? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have...
On Thursday, former U.S. President Donald Trump shocked the combat sports world by announcing he's considering hosting a UFC event at the White House in 2026 to mark America's 250th anniversary. The bold idea has caught the attention of stars like Conor McGregor and Jon Jones, though commentator Joe Rogan has called the proposal completely absurd.
Tonight on social media after President Trump announced plans to have a UFC fight on the White House lawn. He says it will be part of a series of events to mark America's 250th anniversary next year. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the plans, adding that the president is, quote, dead serious. Trump has strong ties to UFC CEO Dana White.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan called the idea of a UFC fight at the White House wild, and elaborated by saying it would be bonkers to witness a fight in front of 20,000 people on the White House lawn. Dude, a UFC fight on the White House lawn? That's wild. On one hand, it's absurdly epic. A historic venue packed with fans? That's bonkers, Rogan said. On the other hand, what does it mean for the institution? Are we turning the presidency into Spectacle Central? He added that he'd need to see fighter reactions, logistics, and purpose. Rogan didn't blindly support the concept, questioning its deeper implications.
Guys, please try to shoot. It's one of my own. I can get you what you want. I tell you what, your work ethic is inspiring. Your work rate is inspiring. Amazing to be here. I'm very excited, very optimistic about the future, and it's a good time here in the United States. I was here the last time Donald Trump became president in 2016, and the energy and, you know, the response is night and day, which is a testament to how he done as a president in his last run and how he's handled himself since.
What do you think is different this time around?
Lessons learned, hard lessons learned, and a backing of his country now.
What's going on at the White House? You got Conor McGregor's in there.
What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability.
Chilling with Trump.
He's not
right
beating
now.
up old dudes in bars in Ireland anymore.
Conor McGregor punched this old man in the face who refused a shot of proper 12. He didn't even move. He just kept drinking. I didn't know he's 36. It looks a little older than 36. Might be the proper 12. No, it's probably the, living on a yacht, partying all the time. Who knows what.
Irishman Conor McGregor met with President Trump this St. Patrick's Day. The two actually have a lot in common, from a hatred of immigrants and credible sexual assault allegations to somehow being at their peak lovability back when they were just an insufferable guy on TV.
All the Irish people alive today, or actually no, because he was asked who are your favourite Irish people. So he could have had anything from Oscar Wilde to Samuel Beckett to I could go on forever, couldn't I? And who did he choose? He chose Conor McGregor. First of all, couldn't remember his full name, and then his mixed martial arts exponent, who was found by a Irish court in a civil case to have...
I don't think it's that surprising that Conor McGregor and Donald Trump sort of see eye to eye, but I think Ireland in general looked at that and thought, dear God.
I mean, look, I think it says everything about the White House at the moment, that Conor McGregor was invited there despite what happened in November, despite the finding of that civil trial. Mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor met the president. Footage emerging of McGregor meeting Trump.
It's always like Conor McGregor, this. Michael Chandler tweets he's coming back. Like, what do you think about that? Is it a distraction at this point, or like, is it just like?
I would love to see Conor come back from battling demons. He probably wants to fight. He got a lot of shit going on. I don't know.
I don't see how he couldn't. Like, because I mean, he has to fight his next two fights in the UFC, and then after those, it's just like heyday city where he can just go around and fight Logan Paul and whoever, Jake and whoever else he wants to, and just do fun fights like that and just get bags.
On that White House UFC fight that President Trump talked about yesterday that Dana White is involved in, they want to do it next 4th of July for America's 250th, a White House UFC fight. We, of course, will be following that, but this has kind of shaken up the UFC world, and expect a lot of the most high-profile fighters out there to want to be involved.
With regard to Conor McGregor, what is the holdup with his return?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter was over back in August, and I can't imagine the plan was for him to be out as long as he's been.
Well, first problem was that he broke that shin bone. He was recovering from that. That was one of the reasons we had it. And the other problem is he's fucking rich. Conor McGregor doesn't need money.
So are we at a point here where Conor McGregor may never fight for the UFC? Can you say that?
If you had shitloads of...
What's new with you? Kinda weird, but Trump wants to host a UFC fight in the White House. I have so many questions, but let's start with why. So next year in 2026 is our 250th birthday. And because of that, Trump wants to make a huge celebration and he wants to make it unforgettable. So he was like, how about we hold a UFC fight in the White House? And UFC is okay with that? Oh yeah, Trump is good friends with Dana White, who is the boss of UFC. Back in 2001, Trump helped Dana White and let him use his casino. Trump touched.
I will come back. I have unfinished business with Michael Chandler. Well, let me stop you right there. You and Chandler don't have any business. You did a season of The Ultimate Fighter that's ratings were so bad, they had to bring in Daniel Cormier and I to try to revive the whole story. You want to get a stadium against the same opponent that you had a contract for and didn't show up, and I just don't believe it. The same guy who pulled out of a press conference because of a discolored pinky toe, which may or may not have been broken, may or may not have even belonged to him.
Is Chandler a fool for just sitting out and waiting for him? People call the Conor fight the red panty night. You fought him. Is it worth waiting for Conor?
I don't know.
You don't know.
He's got to fight again. I had this friggin' jacket, man.
I think he has an expensive lifestyle too. When you're fucking ripping your boat and taking jets and doing all that, money starts to get drained, right? So he has 2 fights left with the UFC.
Oh, it's 2.
And then after that, he has the freedom to do the big boxing event.
Most fire shit I've ever heard, ever, bro. Like, ever. I don't know if it's a PR stunt from Conor McGregor, or, you know, if it's just a marketing genius on the behalf of other parties involved. I don't know how that even got brought up, but that's fire, bro. Like I said, I don't care who it is in that White House. I don't care who's sitting in that White House. To say you want to see a fight at the White House and it's UFC fight night at the White House, bro. Yes, I'd be John Jones.
Conor's not coming back, bro. Conor's done. I saw Conor hit somebody the other day again. He be hitting random people now, man.
But isn't that indicative of him wanting to come back? He want to get back in there.
Sucker punching people.
With all that money, he's just hitting people. You know he got too much money because you know he's getting sued. He like Oprah, million for you. Every time he feel like you want to hit somebody.
You don't think there's a chance for Conor to come back?
I think Michael Chandler getting beat on by Charles Oliveira the way he did makes it more likely that he would come back to fight Chandler. He can only fight the right guy.
It happened in our history, really, where we felt as a people, someone spoke up about our issues. We often hear, and very hastily hear, about overseas issues or foreign affairs, and we hear about it so much that we are left scratching our head. Well, what about our issues?
Exactly.
What about the issues the people of, I was present for his 2016 inauguration, although not officially. I was there on fighting business. I was fighting in Madison Square Garden for my second UFC world title. And MMA and UFC had just become legalized in New York at the time. And I remember Trump had been just voted in and he won the election. And there was uproar on the streets and anger and, fear, I suppose, was going on. And at that time, I was just in a...
I do happen to like your fighter. He's got the best tattoos I've ever seen. I don't know if I'm a big... But well, Conor's great, right? Talking about Conor. But you have a lot of great Irish fighters, actually. You know why? Because they're tough people. They're smart people and they're passionate people. I think your father was a great fighter, right?
He was, sure did.
Wow, and yet, look at you, you're so smooth and so...
A very good defensive boxer. He
was a really good...
He was a good boxer, yeah. He fought for Ireland.